Hello everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful day. So Christopher Judge. Christopher Judge is the voice for Kratos in the new God of War games. He does a wonderful job. He's beloved by the community. And yesterday was the Game Awards. I thought they did a really good job. The only criticism I kind of have is that Sydney Goodman's jokes are still very cringe. They always are. But other than that, it was a good performance. She did a good job presenting. It's just the jokes were really, really bad. And for the most part, I really liked the award winners. I won't say who won because, you know, I won't, if you haven't seen it yet and you want to see it yourself, I won't tell you who wins. The Alan Wake performance was outstanding, but unfortunately during my stream, my computer cut off. So if you watch my video, that's what happened. I couldn't get open source to work again until I reinstalled everything today. So it was just a very headache, but it was a good show. But yesterday, Christopher Judge made the best joke in the entire event, and it was about Call of Duty. And before we get into the title of this video, let's watch what he said.
Fun fact, my speech was actually longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign. What?
So you can see everyone had a good laugh because, look, Christopher Judge has the longest speech last year, and unlike this year where they only gave a set amount of Steam Decks, I think they went overboard with them last year. Christopher Judge did like a 7-minute speech. It was a good speech. It kind of ran on, but he got a lot of people's Steam Decks, which was incredible. That's why a lot of people were like, yeah. But it was still a good speech and whatever. But it was a good joke because he's kind of right. Modern Warfare 3 is one of the most infamous games within the entire franchise. Now, I'm not going to go back into it. I've already done multiple videos about it, but the short of it is that Modern Warfare 3 was supposed to be DLC for Modern Warfare 2. Developers came out in secret about it. It was listed on PlayStation's trophy list right below Modern Warfare 2. And I believe PlayStation 4 owners or PlayStation 5 owners, I can't remember which, needed Modern Warfare 2's disc in the console for it to work if they got it digitally, because the Vault Edition, you know, and all that. But regardless, there is overwhelming fact that this game was DLC sold to the community as a premium price. And when the multiplayer finally came, it only had Modern Warfare 2 maps, because the Modern Warfare 3 maps were so bad with their spawn placement that people figured out how to spawn camp, and it was horrific. Now they've added new content and stuff like that, but nevertheless, when it first launched, it was a shit show. Like, it was horrible. The campaign was terrible. The multiplayer was just recycled content. The zombies mode was just basically DMZ. It was just DMZ with zombies, which sounds like a good idea. Then you play it and you're like, this is so damn boring. Unless you go into the center of the map with an organized team, it is boring as hell. I'm just saying for what it is. It is one of the worst Call of Duty games there is. Look, if you like the game, I know I'm going to get some purists out there who are going to be like, this is the best, you don't know what to talk about. I've been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360. I've beaten every major Call of Duty game on veteran difficulty, every single one. So I would think I have a good idea of Call of Duty campaigns. Multiplayer, I kind of fell off after Black Ops 3, but the campaign, I know my shit. But if you like it, good for you. I won't take that away from you, but a large portion of the community, in fact, will go to Metacritic. I know it's not the best take on this, but, you know, when you're rated this terribly, I would say it should be around a 3, because I would say about good 50% of these reviews are probably just bot accounts who just make accounts to, you know, demonize something they don't like. But I would say a good 50% are probably true. Regardless, yeah. And it seems that, yeah, former Call of Duty developers have called out Christopher Judge for his comments on the Game Awards, saying Modern Warfare 3 destroys all God of War games combined in sales and player metric. Who cares? Like, one, you're not getting any of that money. That's going straight to Bobby Kotick. Like, Activision Blizzard has a notorious history of terminating people in order to pad their books. In fact, Blizzard. I'll just type terminates employees. Yeah. They demand, like, where's the 800 one? Yeah, see? There you go. Record right there. They've terminated employees after record profits. So, F you on that thing, because they just see you as cannon fodder. Not to mention they charge their fan base $60 for horse armor on Diablo 4. I know that's a different different studio, that's Blizzard Entertainment, but regardless, it's still under the Activision Blizzard umbrella. But Call of Duty isn't better because they charge you $40 for skins, and the game still doesn't work correctly. So here's some of the tweets. Funny, but the metrics that Call of Duty enjoys are the God of War games probably combined, to be honest, is equally laughable, if not more. Yeah, but God of War is praised by the community, by the fan base, by the gaming community as a whole. Even people who aren't PlayStation fans recognize how incredible God of War is, as opposed to Call of Duty, which is a walking joke now. It's not the once prestigious franchise it once was. Imagine having short user engagement once your game is consumed. Can't relate. Wow, that is incredibly petty. Like, petty and stupid, because it's a single player game. You play it and that's it, unlike Call of Duty, which is a multiplayer focused game where content is distributed constantly, which, by the way, their employees to work so hard that sometimes they get burnout, I would imagine. So, you know, honestly, as COD developers, we've heard way worse, but we don't expect it from here at the event supposed to be celebrating years of achievement in gaming, especially with all the information that we leaked early on its development. Big Slice Gaming, I'm not sure about that. There's no link because but regardless, one, it is a joke. No one took it well, some people took it seriously, as you can see here, but most people just looked at it and said, well, he's kind of right, but at the same time, it's just a funny joke. But, yeah, it's just, like, so stupid. Even, like, here, Charlie Intel. Comments were obviously a joke, but saying that comment during the show that was supposed to celebrate gaming developers was rough, especially considering the fact that Sledgehammer team had to make this game in 16 months and provided more content than a 3-year dev cycle. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Basically, they're saying player metrics and sales are all that matters. And one, as I already argued, sales doesn't matter when you're a developer, because all those sales numbers go straight to the Activision Blizzard's executives. As I've just shown, they have no problem terminating employees during record profits. So that sale thing is off. And metrics also, well, it's a multiplayer game, the most popular multiplayer game in the planet. And almost every kid on the planet plays this game in hopes of becoming a Call of Duty pro. So doesn't really help your case when the only people playing it are a bunch of kids who want to make this into a career and don't really see any value into the work that you actually put in. They don't care. They just want to play bang bang shoot them. Whereas God of War, you know, I'm not trying to argue between, you know, games heart and soul, but come on. Which one has more heart and soul? God of War Ragnarok or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3? Like, I feel for the developers here, but, yeah. Does the second developer not understand the linear story-driven game that will obviously have a significant drop in players when they've completed it? That's the whole point. Yep. Because, you know, just because you're a game developer doesn't mean you understand, I guess. Or you probably want to make a, trivial objection. If you don't know what that is, basically it means that you make an argument that is easily broken, that has nothing to do with the argument, because, you know, it's stupid. There takes more than I can't read this. Their takes make them worse. It was a joke. You think the people behind COD would be would be good at taking those. Sorry, I don't know why it took me so long to read his sentence, but yeah, he's absolutely right. I get that Call of Duty developers take a lot of flack, not to mention that, again, as a multiplayer-centric game, they are the target for a lot of, like, very, let's say, weak-minded people who get very angry when their favorite weapon or their favorite exploit gets patched, so then they go and find the developer, and these people will do whatever it takes to find the developer. They'll turn into freaking Sherlock Holmes, and then they'll harass the person. There have been many cases of people sending pizza threats to developers. If you don't know what a pizza threat is, it's when you send a pizza to someone's home with some sort of note saying, hey, I know where you live in some regard, and it's extremely scary. So Yeah, I would assume that they've just been under a lot of stress with a lot of stuff that's been going on. Again, Modern Warfare 3 launched in such a terrible state. It's one of the worst rated Call of Duty games of all time. I can only imagine that they're just taking so much L's that it gets to them after a while, and this was probably a breaking point for them. They're like, we worked so hard on this 16-month development cycle, and I respect that. Like, the game factory, the fact that the game launched in a stable, mostly stable state is incredibly monumental. That is incredibly skillful. But this was a joke, and you shouldn't take it so seriously. Clearly, it was a joke. It shouldn't be taken lightly. These kinds of things happen a lot in the music and movie industry, and everyone had just have fun with it. They shouldn't just get upset and hurt by it. Let's not be softies. Yeah, I agree, but again, I think it's just because they've been taking so much abuse that this was probably the breaking point for them. They're like, this is supposed to be an event that celebrates us, and you're basically laughing at us. It sucks. It does. I can understand that, but in this joke, there is a large degree of truth to what he says, because it is the shortest Call of Duty game ever, and when you actually look into the history behind this game's development, not to mention its launch period, it's not pleasant. COD developers... why is the Giga chat there? That's why. I swear the default program to defend COD is the fact that it turns into a cultural thing through marketing and sales like hotcakes regardless of the quality of the product. That's true too. Like, yeah, this game is always going to sell. Like I stated, this game is sold as DLC for a premium price. People still bought it, still has high player metrics. I'm one of the problems. I bought the game, not going to sugarcoat it. But yeah, that doesn't matter. If all of that just mattered, then those mobile games with gacha mechanics that have hundreds of thousands of players every single day and make like $2 or $3 million a day would be heralded as the greatest games of the generation. But they're not, because people know what they are. They target people who have gambling addictions and low self-esteem in order to purchase large quantities of product in order to make themselves feel better. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. That's why those games exist. And yeah, the AAA industry saw that and were like, hey, we can do this with our games. Our IPs are very popular. Call of Duty does this too. Like, there have been multiple instances where skins were sold that gave players an unfair advantage, like that black cosmetic that allowed people to hide in the shadows without anyone being able to see them. Yeah, I remember that. In Warzone, it was everywhere, because if you didn't have it, you were at a major disadvantage. So... yeah, oh, it's getting real. The campaign in Call of Duty is not the reason to buy the game, and everyone knows it. I can't argue with him on that. Like, very few people buy the game for campaign. I'm one of those old dinosaurs who still do, but it doesn't mean that the campaign shouldn't be taken seriously. Like, it's still a part of Call of Duty's soul. Like, the original Call of Duties, Call of Duty World at War, Call of Duty 2, the campaigns meant something. They had heart and dedication to them. Just because Call of Duty is known for the multiplayer doesn't mean you should just omit what made the franchise great to start with. It was the campaign that made Call of Duty first stand out. The first game, it was all about the campaign, the brutality of war. So to ignore it is kind of disingenuous to the franchise as a whole. What in the Jerry Springer is going on, oh, they mad, and it just goes on and on. You can see that the community is on Christopher Judge's side because, I mean, it was just a joke. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but there is a large degree of truth to it. So I rambled enough on this 13-minute video, but you see what I mean. Like, this is just something that it kind of just showcases that he's right, and they just feel butthurt about it. The fact is that, like I stated, they probably just went through a lot of hardship during these last few weeks. Has it been a month since it's released? I don't really give a fuck. But it's been a while, and they've been going through a lot of hurdles, both physically and mentally, to get this game working and fixing the issues and delivering content. So I feel on them on that. But you see a person's true personality when something taken as a lighthearted joke, they take it personally offended, because the two things that they argue for are basically stuff that only corporate executives care about. I'm pretty sure game developers would care more about whether people like their game, whether it's appreciated by fan bases, whether it gets high scores and people still talk about it with incredible levels of positivity. Like, people talk about Call of Duty 4, World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. You know, those games are still talked about for their incredible campaigns and fantastic multiplayers, whereas this one will go down in infamy, and no one wants to see that their hard work is seen as a big joke to the entire populace. No one wants that. It hurts tremendously. But it is what it is, and yeah, they should probably be a little more aware of what's going on. But I can see both sides. I'm trying to argue for both sides here, but in light of all of this, like, yeah, Christopher Judge is just beloved by the community. Maybe you shouldn't have been so harsh on him about this stuff, but regardless, tell me what you think in the comments below. Like, dislike, your choice. That's me signing out. Sorry, a pretty long video.